Price, speed, quality. They say you can only pick two when it comes to contractors on house renovation projects. The story's a little bit different than you think. All right, I'm Ross, been flipping houses, buying real estate for 15 years. I own 150 rental units. I flipped 300 houses, hired a lot of contractors, and it is a different ballgame than you probably think it is. It's not like the white collar people you might be used to managing. Okay, so let's go through each one of these. Price. Here's basically what it comes down to. There is a formula that I go by. Man days, okay? So this is not 8 hours necessarily. This is not by hours, because I'm telling you, these guys look at days worked, not hours. They go, let's say, do a roofing job. They don't think, okay, I'm going to go out there and work for 8 hours. I'm going to work for a day. So it's the amount of work that I need to get done in that day. So man days plus material plus a reasonable markup. I don't even know why I'm writing. You probably can't see it. Reasonable markup. All right, which might be, let's say, 20% or something like that. People will have differing opinions on that, but that means that, let's say I'm going to pay a guy $200 a day. I'm thinking as the crew person that you're going to hire. I'm going to pay this guy $200 a day. He's going to use, $100 in material that day. So $300 plus I need to make some money off of it. And so if it's a 20% markup, $360 for 1 day of work for that person. So if I have a job that I'm doing for a customer, you're the customer, I'm thinking, okay, $360, it's going to take 2 guys 5 days to do this work. So that's 10 man days, 360, $3,600 is what I'm charging for that. Okay, that is what I am searching for, is to get a price that is equivalent to man days plus material plus a reasonable markup. Maybe it's 30%, whatever, but I'm always bringing things back to that. When I'm trying to determine whether I'm getting a good price for something or not, I'm going back to how many guys is it going to take? How long is it going to take? And that's also an indirect way, and I try to figure out if the person's trying to screw me or not, is, okay, cool. So how many days do you think that's going to take? Like, how many guys are you going to have here? Just thinking about my schedule and such, how many guys, how many days. Okay, so I can start to get a sense for it, and you'll start to build up this instinct over time. You'll know how long it takes to do certain jobs, especially the types of jobs that you do often. Okay, but there's 2 special taxes that people like to add to their price. One is the fear tax, as I call it, and 2 is what I would call the slob tax. And, sorry, not the slob, but the slop tax. And then there's actually a third, sorry. This is what I would call the FU tax. Okay. Now, it's important that you understand this, because this is going to apply to quality and speed as well. But let's talk about the fear tax first. All right. So remember, there's the reasonable markup. But sometimes you get a price that's not that $3,600 that we talked about earlier. One guy might be able to give you the $3,600 price, where the next guy, he might say that's $5,000. And here are some common things that have a high fear tax rating. Sewer lines, EPA issues like asbestos, right? You hear asbestos and you get a little bit scared, and you're like, oh crap, man, that's like really dangerous, right? Okay, people know that. They sniff out the fear, therefore they know that they can put a little bit of a tax on that. Whereas it might, with man days, material, and a reasonable markup, only cost, they could charge $3,600. They know that you're scared of it. They know that other contractors are going to know you're scared of it. Therefore, they can increase the price to $5,000, and they know you'll pay it. That's a fear tax. There's also a fear tax that goes the other way. So they smell your fear and they put a tax on it, or they have fear and they put a tax on it. And this is going to come up later in this conversation as well. But let's just say that you take somebody to a job site to get them to give a bid, and it's after a tenant moved out. and there's crap everywhere. There's junk everywhere. They left a huge clean out mess. They left like rotten food in the refrigerator. Smells like crap. There was pets there that crapped everywhere throughout the house. So it reeks. It's just gross. It makes you feel gross when you walk in. Like you could feel the fleas on you when you walk in. This happens all the time on turnovers. In fact, I'm thinking of a specific one that just happened where I did, in fact, go home and realize I had fleas on me. Okay, so think about a contractor coming into that. It's hard for them to see, even though I know that, oh, dude, we just like, after the clean out's done, floors, paint, little bit of handyman repairs, and it's going to be good to go. It's like a $5,000 job, no problem. But they're filtering everything through what they're seeing, and it's hard for them to have the vision of how easy that job really is. So to clear up that vision for them, to take the fear away that they might have more than they accounted for to do, I might have somebody go in and clean it up before I get the bid. Okay, so that's how I alleviate the fear tax. Number 2 is the slop tax. Slob tax actually worked there, but the slob tax. Okay, slop tax, sorry. This is because contractors suck at running business. Okay, it's okay to say it's really hard to run a business. I tried to run a large construction outfit for a long time, and I will tell you it is tough as crap to run. All right, that means that on top of the man days plus material plus a reasonable markup, you have to pay for things like marketing. You have to pay for things like inefficiency in management. All right, just think about this. The best guys, they have success as a one-man operation. This is basically how it works. Let's see. They have their one-man operation, right? It's just them. That's a stick figure of them. They're really good. They understand things. They're smart. They're sharp. They keep track of their time and all that crap. Okay, they do really well. And they're like, all right, well, you know what? I could do even better. I'm going to go down. I was going to go up. I could do even better if I hire Jim and Jeff and Jake, Okay, so now I got those guys and I'm managing those guys, all right? And you guys, I know, watching this, you're all achiever types too. So is this guy. He's an achiever, okay? So he's like, okay, I got Jeff and John and Jim or whatever I named them. I'm a crew leader. I got them out on the job site. I'm working. I'm telling them what to do. It's all working. Why? Because I'm there. Because I'm telling them what to do. I'm leadership on site. Okay, but then what happens is they're like, you know what? I can make Jim a project manager and he could lead a crew. So now he can have 3 guys and dude, scaling up. Okay. But Jim here, he is not the manager that this guy is. Okay. He kind of sucks at it. He was all right at getting stuff done when this guy is telling him exactly what to do all day. All right. But now he's got to manage these guys and tell them what to do, even though he doesn't really understand what to do in the first place anyway. Okay. That's how management gets really inefficient. Okay, and sure, you could go hire some like stellar people right here. Okay, we go right here, we go find somebody fresh out of school that got a construction management degree. Just think about this, guys. Who the heck wants to come do crappy renovations on crappy houses for real estate investors? They just don't. That's not who's doing that job. Okay. The guys who go to school for the stuff and maybe actually are good at it, they want to go do these big commercial sites. They want to go build a hotel or, maybe they want to get into like a high volume new build operation, custom builds or spec homes, building neighborhoods. They don't want to do your job. And that's reasonable. Why would you, and even if you could find that guy, it's going to be probably 6 figures a year. That math does not line up in what you're trying to do as a real estate investor. You can't afford it. Okay. So that means that you end up paying for the inefficiency. So maybe the guy who owns the business, he's trying to keep his prices down, but ultimately he sends this guy out, who sends these other guys out. they mess stuff up. He's got to pay for it. He's either going out of business or he's got to find that money somewhere. It ultimately ends up getting passed to you as the slop tax. All right. How do you prevent yourself from having to pay the slop tax? Is you always bring things back to man days plus material plus a reasonable markup. Just always be thinking that way. And then you'll understand if any of these taxes are put on. Slop tax, sorry, guy. I like you. I'm glad you're working hard, but I'm not paying for your inefficiencies, not paying for your marketing. Okay, I want something different. Fear tax. Okay, well, if you're trying to prey on me, screw you, man. And then if you are scared of the job, that's on me. I need to make sure that I cast a better vision. Now the FU tax. A lot of people aren't going to like you. All right. You hopefully are a likable person, but you might be unliked unknowingly. Okay. I made this video about like the 18 rules for managing contractors, which was basically, I was thinking about this after having a discussion with somebody in my school community, which by the way is free for now. It's linked in the description, but having a discussion, and he was like talking about how some of the conversations he was having with the contractors and like some of the difficulties he is having with the contractors. And I realized, oh dude, it's because you suck. Like they think you suck and that you're trying to screw them or you're confusing them and they're just wanting to go to somebody else. So what is happening is they're giving you what I call the FU tax. And they say, okay, well, I could do the job for $3,600, but I really don't want to do the job for you. So, I'll do it for $7,200, and some people will take it. It's the FU tax. Give a price so high that even if they take it, fine, I'll deal with it. Okay, but that's because they don't like it. That's what I'm saying. So you gotta learn to be the type of person that people put first on your list. So that brings us perfectly to speed. All right, so we were talking about price. Now we're talking about price. Now we're talking about speed. Now, what people think about speed is that it's like, how do I explain it? You're hoping that a guy comes to do floors and they're done by noon. You know, that's maybe what you think about speed. But that's not really it. Really, speed comes down to just this, that a given project kind of looks like this. All right, they have, let's just say this is a 30-day situation. Okay, they are whatever. That's 30 days, guys. Just deal with it. Here's what happens is when they're focusing on your job, okay, they're probably going to be here. Oh, I guess that shouldn't be an X. That should be a circle. They're going to be here on that day. They're not going to be here on this day. They come here this day. They come here this day. They come here this day. Not on this day. Not on this day. Not on this day. But then here they are again. Okay, that is good. Even though there's those gaps there, it doesn't mean that they're going to like be at your job site every day. These are subcontractors. These aren't employees. All right. You don't control that they're there every day. They got other crap that they're dealing with. They're trying to deal with other jobs, whatever. That's fine. It's in your benefit. That's not what I'm talking about right now. Okay. But this I would consider good. But here's the reality of what happens is that they get started on your job and then something becomes a bottleneck for them. Okay, so they're here, whatever, let's say. And then something becomes a bottleneck, something stops them from being able to continue. And then it's like this battle to get them back to the job site. And then you waste all this time in between. All right, that is the crap that slows down a project. Or what happens is you have multiple contractors on a job and you have whatever, the painter comes and the painter works right here. Okay, he gets done. And then after the paint's done, you had flooring set to come. And, whatever happens, that flooring gets pushed out. And now flooring doesn't start till down here. And then you got this next thing that doesn't start till all the way over here. It's those big gaps. That's the speed that we're talking about. Okay. It's not the speed of, I'm going to get a guy in here and I'm going to get him, this 5-day job. We're going to make it take 3 days. Who cares? Those 2 days are not the thing that kills you. The thing that kills you is the time from when the 5 days ended to when the next 5 days starts, or the contractor hits an obstacle and doesn't get finished. So you, a lot of times, are the obstacle. Let me just tell you, I'm doing a project at my own personal property, my house, and well, it's a little bit different because usually I don't care about finishes and stuff. You know, we have like a program that we run, but it's my personal house, and my number one customer, my wife, has some opinions about the finishes. All right. So anyway, I know this sounds silly. All right. But we got momentum, because momentum is a real thing. We get guys out there working, okay, guys running the job, and then everything's going well. You know, we got the demo done. We're getting on the painting. Drywall's getting fixed. We get the vanities in, and then countertops. We were going to put in like one countertop, and then we decided to change it. It wasn't something we could just go up to the store and buy. It's something that we had to order in. Okay, that becomes a thing. And this sounds silly, but I'm telling you, the contractor then had to do a bunch of admin work. They had to go find the stone, had to like get on the phone and talk to these people who aren't part of their normal network. And that delayed the project for 2 months. I kid you not, because, you know, they, this like thing they didn't want to do stopped them. You know, they had to take the guys who are getting paid by the day, and they had to go put them to work somewhere else because they're bottlenecked by this countertop situation. And so he's got to do this admin work, but he puts it off to the side because there are other jobs to go out and do. So he goes out and does the other work. They're just always doing the work that's in front of them. Okay. And so this bottleneck held things up until enough of the other work had dried up to where they're like, uh-oh, I better get that bottleneck cleared so I actually open up more work for my guys. That is how it works. That is what kills the speed. So I am the one that screwed that up by throwing a wrench in there. Okay. And this happens a lot of times. This happens, you know, you don't even know that you're doing it, but you start to cause admin work or work outside of their norm, and it throws things off. It causes speed issues. So you are likely the issue. So it's helpful if you are thinking about the obstacles and the things that are going to potentially be bottlenecks and planning ahead, because I'm telling you, they're not going to plan for it until it is right in front of them and they have no other work to go to. One other piece on the speed is basically the way it works is all these crews, they're going to have dumb guys and smart guys, not like actually dumb and not actually smart, knowledgeable, skilled guys and less skilled guys. Okay, name of the game is always keeping the less skilled guys working, because they're making money when those guys are working on something. When the surgeons are at the table, that's when they're making money. So they want to keep those guys working, but it's hard to get the less skilled guys to work because there's less work for less skilled guys, because a lot of the work takes actual skills. So they're always pushing to the jobs that have the unskilled work available. All right. So they're pushing to these jobs. What you need to do is make sure that that stays open for them by removing the bottlenecks. And also, as they look across the field of all the projects that they have going on, all the work that they've won, well, there's also one more factor where they're like, ooh, I want to go do work for that guy, or I should go do work for that guy. Okay. And there's a couple ways that you become that guy. One is you're likable, and two is that you are somewhat forceful. Okay. This is project management. You don't want to go too far to where they don't like you, but you definitely want to be a pain for them to skip over as well. Now, finally, there's quality. This one's going to be brief, because I think what most of you guys think when you think about quality is you're thinking, like it's craftsman. It's like really, perfect work and stuff. That is not what we're doing here, guys. If you're like doing high-end stuff like that and you need these specialty contractors, well, I'm telling you, specialty contractors come with specialty prices. I'm looking for middle of the road. So quality is not high craftsmanship to me. Quality is simply the adherence to the scope of work that I expected them to complete, the universal rules. All right. So it is the consistency of the product. All right. It doesn't mean that they're high craftsmanship, it means that if I said that I wanted LVP floors and I set out the expectations that I had for LVP floors, they're run, front to back of the house. I don't want transition strips between the doors. I want it to be run continuously. I want to make sure like the doors get undercut and all that kind of stuff. It's adherence to that scope of work. And usually a scope of work is going to be more than just floors. It's going to be floors and paint and so on and so forth. So there is adherence to my scope of work, and my scope of work is not high craftsmanship. We talk about this all the time, right? The baseline in the neighborhood is what I'm going for. And then with the universal rules are like, this is one that came up in the community, is a drywaller that sucked. Drywall at where the roof meets, or the ceiling meets the wall, is supposed to have tape there. It actually helps strengthen the bond. But this guy used mesh tape, which mesh tape has a different purpose. It's definitely not that. That is a universal rule. Everybody who calls themselves a drywaller knows that. Okay, so he messed that up. On the corners, they didn't put corner beads. There's got to be a corner bead. That's what strengthens the corner. This dude just mudded it, right? Okay, those are universal rules. If you call yourself a drywaller or you take a job as a drywaller, you got to know that stuff. And it is reasonable for me to expect that to be done. That's what I'm talking about, quality, not high craftsmanship. If you're asking for high craftsmanship, yes, you are in fact asking for your price to go up. But that's not what I'm asking for. In fact, I'm trying to make the scope of work very easy for them. So I believe that I can have price good, right? Because I work on price a lot. I'm always thinking in the Manday formula. And quality is simply my ability to set a clear vision, set clear expectations, and then I'm going to hold accountability to those things, because if I've said it and you've agreed to it, well, you get paid when you do that thing. All right. I give a little bit, but I increasingly set clearer and clearer expectations, and I can expect those things. And then speed is all about removing bottlenecks. Okay. That's on me. So I can make all of this stuff happen. It is in my control. And that's pretty much a reoccurring theme around here, that gaining the knowledge and putting it to experience. Knowledge times experience equals skills. You are the one that has the skills. You're not relying on these other guys. You're not doing the build a great team thing and just hope these guys figure it out for you. No, you control it. That's what we talk about here. That's what we talk about in my free, for now, school community. Links in the description. Guys, hope I see you there. Otherwise, check out this video right here. Talk to you later.